Hello and welcome to our special presentation, Go for Glory, coming to you live as usual from the place where the Olympic Games are happening, and that of course is Paris. India now sitting with 6 medals here at the Paris Games. Can it be 7? Can India match their performance last time around? There is still a glimmer of hope, and that one other medal that I'm referring to is not just from the wrestling mat of Ritika, who could be in contention via the repechage, but more importantly, it is that Vinesh Fogart case that we are still awaiting judgment on. The latest news that we are getting you is that the judgment was to come out yesterday. That was the 24-hour window that CAS had, but they've asked for an extension. It's been extended for another 24 hours, and that 24-hour period ends tonight, local time 6 p.m. and it is of course 9:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. So any moment now we could be getting a judgment on that case. Maybe not a detailed judgment, but an interim order for sure, and then we will await the detailed judgment a little later. What we're going to do right now is going to give you a bit of a backgrounder as to the sequence of events. How is it that this entire controversy unfolded? We'll start right from the top. It is going to be on August the 7th. That is the day that Vinesh was disqualified for being overweight by 100 grams before the final. Remember, she was within her weight category on day 1 of her competition. Day 2, before the final, she was found 100 grams overweight while she was participating in the 50 kilogram category. Then the same day, IOA, that is the Indian Olympic Association, that approaches UWW, which is United World Wrestling, the international governing body of the sport, and also IOC, which is International Olympic Committee. IOA puts in their request, but to no avail. United World Wrestling says rules are pretty clear, there is no ambiguity, we've just followed the rule to the T, and so no exceptions can be made for Vinesh. That is on August 7th. Now what is it that the Indian camp does? IOA takes Venesh's case. First, it is actually before even IOA steps in, Vinesh herself takes the case to the Court of Arbitration for Sport. So Vinesh, as an athlete on her own accord, takes the case to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, CAS, supported by the Indian Olympic Association. Same day, the two main demands that are put in front of CAS are that allow Vinesh to participate in the final. That's the first demand, which is of course rejected by the Court of Arbitration for Sport, saying that no, there is very little time to pass a judgment on that, and 2 finalists have already been announced, so we cannot allow you to do that. Then the counter claim that comes from Venesh's side is that okay, in that case, allow me to get the silver medal that I so deserve for reaching the final, because I fought the initial rounds and reached the final within my prescribed weight limit. So that's the second demand. On August the 8th, the same day, CAS rules out option 1 but accepts argument number 2 for a joint silver. That is again happening on August 8th. Things are happening really fast. Then on August 8th itself, 4 pro bono lawyers from the Paris bar, which have been appointed by the Paris bar for every athlete that is here for the games, they agree to represent Vinesh Fogart in the case that is to be presented in CAS. Then the same day, IOA ropes in Harish Salve, legal Harish Salve, very well known lawyer in India, Harish Salve, as well as Vidushpat Singhania, who's a sports law expert and has fought previous cases pertaining to athletes. Both of them are roped in as amicus curiae in this case by the Indian Olympic Association. August the 9th, the matter is heard by the court, and the hearing goes on for 3 hours. The basic fight that or the basic argument presented from Venesh's side is that it was a fundamental right to take in those fluids, those calories, because of a recovery process, and that is a fundamental right. So she did not try to gain any unfair advantage, in which case if a weight gain was there, then it should be considered that because of a fundamental right of an athlete, she was allowed to do that. So at least count the first day results for her. That's the argument that is being presented. Then now the verdict was to be out, but the CAS, that is Court of Arbitration for Sports, has extended the deadline for another 24 hours, which finishes in roughly about 3.5 hours from now. And August the 10th, where we are today, the verdict is expected anytime, as I have been mentioning. So this was the chain of events. This is the exact timeline how this entire Vinesh Fogart case unfolded. Okay, joining us for another perspective, Gopal Jain. He's a senior advocate at the Supreme Court. He'll help us, break down this entire scenario. Mr. Jain, first up, I'd like to know from you. Usually, and I've been following a lot of cases that were presented at the Court of Arbitration for Sports, it is a practice that within 24 hours, you've always got that initial verdict. It always ends up coming there. This is one of those very rare occasions where they've asked for a 24-hour extension. What does this tell you as a legal expert? Do you think they are now contemplating, allowing Vinesh to get that silver? Because at the beginning it seemed like an open and shut case because all UWW did was follow the rules. But now that there is an extension, you think deliberations are on and there is a glimmer of hope?
Well, let me first say that perhaps being a ticklish issue, they wanted more extensive deliberations since this could set a precedent in future as well. So sometimes you do need more time to reflect before you come up with a decision. And I would de-link it from the glimmer of hope because it's a deliberation, discussion, thorough consideration, which is what a time-taking exercise is. But there is always glimmer of hope when you go to a council of sports arbitration or to any adjudicating body, because you always believe that your right, which has been infringed, can be corrected. That's the abiding faith in the adjudicatory system per se. But let me make two other points. First, the hallmark of sports is sportsmanship, and I think it would be befitting if the adjudicating body shows sportsmanship in its decision making and awards a person who went into the final the silver in the least. Second, what brings glory to sport is an active contest. It's after contest that if you win a medal, that medal becomes something as a reason to celebrate because it was won after a match, a contested match. So in this case, by default, by disqualification, they actually undermine the final because in a final you would actually want to see a match and not a walkover or a pass through. And third, 100 grams and the reasons for it. There's a principle in law called substantial compliance. A person had substantially complied with the weight requirements, and therefore you must allow some flexibility in situations like this so that you add to the fun of participation, contests, spectators, and the eventual result which comes. It would be a well-earned medal versus a medal which came by virtue of a no-show or a no contest, as it turned out to be.
Okay, that's very interesting points that Mr. Jain puts forward. I'm guessing the argument that have been made on Venesh's part would have been on similar lines as he talks about sportsmanship. He talks about the spirit of actually having a contest, and those could be the things that the court may be considering. So that does offer more than a ray of hope for all Indian fans that would be hoping that the silver can still come in India's back. In this case, there doesn't seem to be a visible advantage that Vinesh may have taken, so no cheating as such. But what do you think, in case the verdict does come in Venesh's favor, what do you think will be the repercussions on the sports per se of wrestling?
No, I think it would be if a decision comes in her favor, I think it would be a welcome step because it would enhance the spirit of the sport. And as you said, since it's a fair play situation and there's no foul play, this would do ultimate justice to the athlete and, as I said, to the sanctity of the contest, which results in a medal. So it would augur well and it would add to the precedents that you just cited, all of which showed that in a situation, the CAS did intervene. I think the takeaway message is the CAS does and can intervene, and it should be an effective intervention. That's the positive that I read from the precedents that you cited.
Okay, Mr. Jain, thank you so much. Appreciate you taking our time and really putting things into perspective of this entire Vinesh Fogart case that is still ongoing here at the Olympic Games. Moving on from this story, let's also focus on another medal that came India's way, also coming in from the wrestling arena. Aman Sherawat, the young 21-year-old, making a record in the process when he picked up that bronze medal in the 57 kilogram category by becoming the youngest medalist in the history of our country when it comes to Olympic sport. I had a chance to speak to that young champion. Let's listen in. Since 2008, India has won a medal at the wrestling arena in every Olympic Games, and the man standing next to me, Aman Sherawat, has ensured that tradition continues. अमन, सबसे पहले तो मैं जानना चाहूँगा, आपके मैंने जो रूम है ना छत्रसाल स्टेडियम में, उसकी तस्वीरें देखी हैं, वहाँ एक मेडल की आपने एक कटआउट रखा हुआ है. अब कटआउट के अलावा असली मेडल आपके पास मौजूद है, कैसा लग रहा है?
बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है जी. मतलब सुबह शाम उसको देखते थे, हाँ भाई वो यही लेना है, तो मतलब आज ये ले ही लिया आखिर में.
अच्छा, मैं एक चीज़ आपसे बात कर रहा हूँ, मुझे नज़र आ रही है थोड़ा यहाँ से खून सा कुछ आ सा रहा है आपके लिप के पास.
यहाँ पे टक्कर
नहीं,
लगी
ये
है।
तो कुश्ती में बाउट में ये यहाँ से फूट गया था, चेपी लग रही है, ये हाथ से ये
Swelling
ऐसा. ये तो कुछ नॉर्मल चीज़ है, ज़्यादा वो नहीं है. ये तो कति बस अड़की, इस मेडल के आगे तो बस कति मामूली सी है ये.
यार आप जो ये पता क्या है, मैं आपको बताता हूँ, हम लोगों में क्या होता है, किसी के ऐसे थोड़ा खून आ जाता है ना या कुछ चोट आ जाती है, हम घबरा जाते हैं हमारे फैमिलीज़ में. ये अमन मेरे साथ खड़े हैं, ये कहते हैं ये तो मामूली सी चीज़ है. ये एक रेसलर की लाइफ का हिस्सा है.
देखो जी, हमारा बॉडी टच गेम है, तो चोट तो हमारा हिस्सा है. अब जैसे फाइनल के बाद इसके काफ़ी ब्लीडिंग हो रही थी नाक में, और वहीं पे फाइनल के तुरंत बाद डॉक्टर पादरी वाला थे, तो तुरंत ये भाग गया, अरे ब्लीडिंग हो रही है. ये नुला, अरे सर कुछ नहीं, ये तो चलती रहती है.
ये तो चलती रहती है.
नुला ये कुछ बात नहीं. नुला मेडल मिल गया, ये बहुत है.
नहीं बहुत है, आपने हम सबको बड़ा खुश किया. अच्छा, दूसरी बात आप मुझे बताएं, आपको ये एहसास था या हमसे ही पता चला है कि आप यंगेस्ट मेडलिस्ट हैं भारत के लिए, भारत के इतिहास में?
आपने
21 साल के हैं.
आप तो मेरा सारा जी, मुझे तो क्या बता, मतलब आप लोगों तो भी पता चला था.
हमसे पता चला था कि 21 साल के हैं ये, और उन्होंने
मेडल सबसे बड़े कम उम्र के हैं जिन्होंने इंडिया के लिए मेडल लिया है. तो ये भी बहुत गर्व की बात है कि इतनी छोटी उम्र में इतनी बड़ी उपलब्धि मिल रही है, और उसका सिर्फ मेहनत है अमन की.
अच्छा, एक चीज़ और है, आपके वो कमरे के बारे में बात कर रहा था, उसमें बड़े बड़े चीज़ें लिखी हैं, इफ़ इट वाज सो इजी एवरीवन वुड डू इट, है ना, वो सब आपने चीज़ें डाली, तो कुछ के बारे में कुछ बताएं.
ये मतलब मेहनत करना था, प्रेरित करे, हाँ भाई वो लख रखा कि इतना आसान होता है कोई कर लेता. तो मतलब एक आदि कमरे में बैठे बैठे रेस्ट लेने का जी करे, फिर नहीं हो सकता भाई, यो लख रखा इतना आसान हुआ है तो और कोई कर लेता, फिर प्रैक्टिस पे
ध्यान दे दे.
अच्छा, मैंने इनकी कहानियाँ सुनी है, जब से बचपन में आए, लोगों को शायद पता नहीं है, 10 साल की उम्र में छत्रसाल स्टेडियम में आ गए थे, तो जैसे वो दंड बैठक लगाई जाती है, अभ्यास किए जाते हैं, चीज़ें होती थी, लोगों के लिए गिना जाता था. मैंने सुना है इनके लिए वो गिनती जो भी होती थी उसके पार चले जाते थे, हैं कुछ उसके बारे में कोच साहब आप बताएं थोड़ा.
देखिए, अमन तो बेसिकली तो छत्रसाल में ही शुरू से पहलवानी करता है. वहाँ महाबली सतपाल जी थे, फिर राम फड़मान जी थे, एस वी डबास जी, वीरेंद्र जी, और काफ़ी कोचेज हैं. हमारे पास तो जब नेशनल कैंप होता है जब भी आता है. लेकिन जैसे आप कह रहे हो, ऐसा ही मैंने सुना है मेरे साथी कोचेज से कि अगर अमन को कोई वर्कआउट कोई भी काम दे दिया गया, वो उसे 21 करेगा, 20 नहीं, 20 भी उतना ही नहीं रखेगा, 21 करेगा, और उसी का कारण ही ये मेडल है. इसका 100% फोकस है, जैसे घोड़े पे दोनों तरफ वो बन जाता है.
हाँ, वो जो लगाते हैं.
बिल्कुल इसका टारगेट है. मैंने कभी कैंपों में, मैं विदेश में भी गया हूँ इसके साथ काफ़ी समय. बहुत से लड़के लड़कियाँ रूम में सामान रखा, फोटोग्राफी के लिए चले गए, शॉपिंग के चले गए, मॉल में चले गए, घूमने चले गए. इसका मैं कई साल से देख रहा हूँ विदेश में. और रूम एरिना या एयरपोर्ट और अपना घर.
अच्छा, आपके जो लक्ष्य है ना, जो मैं बात कर रहा था, कमरे में आपने चीज़ें लगाई हैं, उसमें गोल्ड मेडल लगाया हुआ है, ब्रॉन्ज मेडल तो हमें तो बड़ा गर्व हो रहा है, लेकिन LA गेम्स, ये तो आपकी पहली गेम्स थी, वो है आपका टारगेट गोल्ड मेडल की अगले ओलंपिक्स में?
हाँ, मतलब पहले थे तो पेरिस का लग रहा था, अगले और भी उसके 2028 का लगाएंगे, तो फिर अब की बार तो चलो ओलंपिक में तो मेडल मिल गया, पर अगली बार गोल्ड के लिए लड़ेंगे.
अच्छा, ही कम्स फ्रॉम छत्रसाल स्टेडियम. छत्रसाल स्टेडियम से इतने बड़े बड़े दिग्गज रेसलर्स आए हैं, सुशील कुमार वहाँ से आए हैं, योगेश्वर वहाँ से आए हैं, बजरंग पुनिया वहाँ से आए हैं, अब आपका नाम उसमें जुड़ गया है. एक चीज़ है जो मुझे वहाँ पता है, मैं वहाँ गया हूँ, रवि दहिया आए हैं, बिल्कुल उनके बारे में मैं आपसे सवाल पूछूंगा. एक चीज़ मैंने देखी है, वहाँ बड़े बड़े रेसलरों की फ़ोटो लगी हुई है, आपकी फ़ोटो अभी तक नहीं लगी है. कोच साहब आप बताएं, फ़ोटो लग जाएगी इनकी?
नहीं लगनी चाहिए मेरे हिसाब से. अभी
आपको क्या लगता है?
28 के बाद लगनी.
28 के बाद ओलंपिक में गोल्ड लाएंगे, जब भी अच्छा लगेगा फोटो लगे तो.
आपने मेडल अभी जीत लिया है, आपने योगेश्वर की बराबरी कर ली है, आपने बाकियों की बराबरी कर ली है, अभी नहीं लगेगी आपकी है? अच्छा बताएं क्या?
उनकी बराबरी नहीं हो सकती।
उन्होंने तो कुश्ती ठाई है, उनकी बराबरी कुकर हो सका है। उन्होंने देख के हम नहीं हो सब हम ओलंपिक में मेडल ले आवा, अगर वे नहीं लाती तो हमारी सोच कुकर मनती ओलंपिक के मेडल
सुशील और
की।
योगेश्वर ने तो इंडिया का माइंड सेट चेंज कर दिया था। उनकी बराबरी तो इन्होंने तो बहुत ही ईजी रास्ता मिल गया कि ये ला सकते तो हम भी ला सकते हैं। उन्होंने तो एक काम को जो इम्पॉसिबल था वो किया था। लेकिन ये आइडियल है पूरे देश के, और आने वाले भविष्य में अगर ये गोल्ड मेडल लेता है तो ये पहला गोल्ड मेडल रेसलिंग का होगा, तो ये आइडियल हो जाएगा।
अच्छा गोल्ड मेडल आएगा तभी फोटो लगेगी है, उससे पहले नहीं? नहीं। अच्छा आप बताएं, आपके 2 आइडल हैं। सुशील से मैंने सुना है जब उनको आपने पहली बार देखा वहाँ से रेसलिंग शुरू की, उनसे क्या प्रेरणा लेते हैं? अच्छा कभी कभी वो बाहर आते हैं, कभी उनसे बात करते हैं कैसे क्या करना चाहिए, अभी भी टिप्स लेते हैं?
मतलब यही कुश्ती के बारे में भाई, हाँ कैसे प्रैक्टिस न्यू कुश्ती के बारे में करते हैं।
और दूसरे आपके आइडल हैं रवि दहिया, है ना? उनको आपने बाहर करके यहाँ पे जगह बनाई है, लेकिन उनका फ़ोन आया सबसे पहले जानना चाहूँ अभी मेडल के बाद?
अभी फ़ोन तो मतलब मेरा वो बंद कर रखा मैंने, व्हाट्सएप करती वो मतलब डिलीट
पर
कर
होगी
रखा,
उनसे
तो
बात?
हाँ होगी।
रवि ने चलते हुए बेस्ट विशेष किया था और कुछ टिप्स भी दिए थे कि ऐसे ऐसे लड़ना है चलते
आने से पहले जब मैं यहाँ आया ना उससे पहले बताई थी भाई ऐसे ऐसे लड़ना है।
You know, that's the most incredible thing about Indian wrestling. Ravi Dahiya, silver medalist last time around. This man replaced him. उनकी जगह आपने ली, लेकिन अभी भी रवि दहिया is giving him tips कि आपको कैसे जीतना है, कैसे फाइट करना है। अच्छा मैं आपसे जानना चाहता हूँ, हाँ
आज वो तो एक अलग बात है भाई, बाउट हमारी आपस में होगी। फिर अब देश के लिए जा रहे हैं ना, तो रवि दहिया भी ऐसे सोचते भाई मेडल लेके आएगा ये कि जो उसको ज़्यादा अनुभव हमसे, हम तो कुछ भी नहीं है उसके आगे, तो अभी तो उसको बता भाई कैसे लड़ना है, किसके साथ कैसे।
अच्छा आपसे जानना चाहता हूँ, रवि दहिया को हराना मुश्किल हुआ था, जो आपने हराया था 14-13 से शायद हराया था, अगर वो टफ, हाँ 13 वो टफ था, या यहाँ पे मेडल में बाउट हराना वो टफ था कि रवि को हराना टफ?
रवि को हराना टफ था।
ये you know what that tells you, that the competition within India is tougher than the competition that he's faced here. नहीं बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, आपने हमारे साथ समय लगाया और हमें बिल्कुल गर्व महसूस कराया इस मेडल के साथ। ऑल द वेरी बेस्ट फॉर LA गेम्स। आपको भी कोच साहब थैंक यू वेरी मच।
थैंक यू आपका भी।
ऑल द वेरी बेस्ट, थैंक यू। What a humble champion, that 21-year-old Aman Sherawat. Talking about humble champion, there's another one that India has, Neeraj Chopra. 2 Olympic medals now, won a silver medal. I had the opportunity of speaking to the team that manages him. Manisha Malhotra and Parth Jindal, both part of JSW Sport, that has been supporting Neeraj for a very long time. I tried to understand from them that what does the future hold for Neeraj? What is it that they're going to do to ensure that going forward he can cross that 90-meter mark? And this is what they had to say. You listen into this interview. We'll see you again tomorrow, same time. For the moment, Nikhil Naz signing off from Paris. Chopra, I still call him the golden boy, even though he's got a silver here, because in our history, we've only got that one track and field gold, which Neeraj has given us. With me are 2 people who work very closely with him. Manisha Malhotra, Head of Sports Excellence at JSW Sport, and of course Parth Jindal, the founder of JSW Sport. And not just Neeraj, they support a host of other athletes that were participating at the Olympic Games. I'll start with you, Parth, on this one. Neeraj, how is he feeling at the moment? The thing is, expectations are so high, we tend to forget that we barely get any medals and we got 1 silver. But how's Neeraj feeling at the moment?
I think Neeraj is very disappointed and a bit devastated because he was not very happy with the way he threw yesterday. I think he's more all about process, and he's all about how he feels when he throws. I don't think the result itself is what is bothering him. I think it's the fact that he was not in his best rhythm. And I feel that because when he came up, when I was in the crowd yesterday, when he came up to me, I screamed out for him, and he came up and I said, शाबाश नीरज, बहुत अच्छा किया है. He said, भैया बहुत काम बाकी है, बहुत काम करना है और आज लगी नहीं. तो I said, नहीं बहुत अच्छा किया. I said, नहीं भैया लगी नहीं आज. So he even though he won a silver, he was not very happy. That says something about his mindset, and it's no doubt in my mind that it's this mindset of his that makes him a champion.
All right, very interesting. Manisha, those as he talks about that Neeraj also, I spoke to him. He said that rhythm wasn't there. Those foul throws, barring the one that he got, were they an indication that today or yesterday his rhythm wasn't quite there, or was that part of a larger strategy?
No, I mean, I think that after the second throw being a 92.97 in the second round, it changes the whole perspective. And the Klaus told me that he's never seen Neeraj fight the way he fought yesterday, and it was sheer experience and literally grit to pull out that 89. Because what happened after that is that he just started forcing throws, and so if you see, Neeraj never usually gets those belly ups, and that is I mean, from the first throw, I don't know, you were not near me, but from the first throw, it didn't look so good because I knew he couldn't control the release angle was not his normal release angle, and then when you add this whole 92.97 element to it, it just becomes a big fight and a force, and at that point, there's a lot of things going through an athlete's mind, and of course for Neeraj, there was no doubt that he didn't think that he could do it, so that was not the problem. But then you're really kind of forcing that, and it never comes when you force it. And if you saw the way Nadeem threw, it was literally like effortless. And it was similar to Neeraj's qualification throw, which he was not expecting an 89 and not going for an 89. But that's what it is. And to be able to have that effortlessness in a time of ultimate pressure, that's like that elusive thing, and it comes and it goes, and it's amazing, but it's magic.
Yeah, it is. It was magical, actually, the entire competition. But you're talking about his resolve. In the interview, he mentions that as soon as Nadeem threw that 92.97, he said there were murmurs within the athletes. The gold is done. He said, I was the only one who said no. It's not done. I'm not giving up. I'm going for it. I've not done 90, but I'm going for it. Okay, on the larger thing, since we spoke to him last evening, he mentioned that, about 40% of his focus is also on that groin injury. He doesn't want to aggravate it. So he wants to be completely free of that. And he thought that maybe, because that was too early right after the competition, but going forward, he wanted to think about what needs to be done as a long-term solution. Have you guys thought about it? And because, you're going to be his backroom staff. Any thoughts about that? What should be the future?
I think Manisha can.
Yeah, well, lots of thoughts, because there's a lot going to change for Neeraj right now. Obviously, surgery was the only thing that's going to fix that issue. And it's not a groin. The pain remanates into the groin, but it's a hernia issue. And it's not a major surgery. It's literally like a separation that needs to be stitched together. It was an option on the cards last year, which he didn't want to take a chance before the Olympics. So he said, I'll manage till then. And so that option is definitely on the cards now. There are 3 doctors who are world experts in this. One in Paris who works with PSG, one in Munich who works with Bayern Munich actually, and one out of Dubai. And again, a very FIFA accredited doctor, so very good doctors. We're going to now consult those and see which he feels most comfortable with. It's also an interesting perspective to understand that Klaus is no longer going to be traveling with him full time.
Oh, that's interesting.
So
why is that so?
So Klaus, I mean, is 75, and Klaus is going to now. It's not announced, and he's not announced a retirement. He's not retiring, but he's not going to be with him week in and week out for 8 months.
Are you looking at somebody else then?
No, I think that's a discussion now with Neeraj, and I think that so there are several things for Neeraj that are on the cards, and there's several options where we have to start talking about it. One thing that is for sure is that there needs to be a lot of work done on his technique, because technique is breaking down, and that could be he hasn't competed much this season.
Yes.
He's always protecting the groin. It's always in the back of your mind. So these are all, I mean, it's going to be a period of introspection and discussion, and of course everybody's going to have certain thoughts on it, but Neeraj himself needs to kind of figure out how to go forward on it.